I'm Stacy Gordon. Welcome to That's My Jam. Happy Halloween to those of you who are watching on the day this video will originally air. Y'all, my friends and I send recipes back and forth between each other all the time. Normally, I'm super stoked to try new recipes that I've never made. However, there is a nagging list of things that I've always wanted to make, but for some reason, I'm terrified to try. I'm really tired of being scared of trying to make these things. So over the next few months, I'm gonna make everything on my list. To help me keep track of things, a few months ago, I developed what I like to call my wheel of fear. Now I can already scratch one of these items off my list. A few weeks ago, I got really brave and I tried to make risotto. I was extremely happy with the way it turned out. And if you want to see the video, hop over to my channel and look for bacon cheddar risotto. Today, we're gonna tick another one off the list. I'm not gonna leave this up to chance because if you fail to plan, you should plan to fail. So I'm just gonna manipulate this wheel just a bit and it's gonna land on homemade biscuits. My fear for making homemade biscuits is completely irrational. My grandmother on my dad's side made the most incredible biscuits. She passed that art down to some of my cousins, my cousin June. Also, she taught my mother how to make them. I watched my mother make my grandmother's homemade biscuits countless times. But quite frankly, I was pretty young and I never had the opportunity to get my mom to teach me how to do it. So when I saw the queen, Brenda Gantt, make her homemade biscuits, I recognized that she was making them exactly the way my mom, my aunt, and my grandmother made them. Even after that, I was still afraid to try it. Then recently, my friend Leslie came to visit me. In fact, we filmed a video together. Be sure to check that out. And while Leslie was here, she said, "Don't be afraid of this. I've made Brenda Gantt's biscuits numerous times and it's as easy as it looks when she does it." So if Brenda Gantt says it's easy and Leslie says it's easy, I'm gonna overcome my fear today and I'm gonna try to make some homemade biscuits. First, we're gonna get our oven heated to 500 degrees. You may notice I'm wearing my big old bowl apron because we're gonna need one. Miss Brenda Gantt and my mother both kept flour in this bowl at all times. The same flour. They just covered it with a lid when they're done. I'm not at that stage yet. I'm still in fear stage. So today, I'm just gonna sift out as much self-rising flour as I think we're gonna need. And now I'm gonna wash my hands and take off these rings. I've got a super cool, really old cast iron griddle. We're gonna be using that today. I'm gonna put down my great big cutting board and we're gonna sprinkle some flour on that. I'm gonna be using some lard today. You can use Crisco or any kind of shortening you choose. I'm gonna make a little nest in that flour with my hand. Now Miss Brenda usually uses 2 egg-sized pieces of grease, but I'm only going to do 1 today because I'm making a kind of a small batch. So we're going to add that to our little nest and I'm going to pour in some buttermilk. I'm going to start squishing that lard in with the buttermilk. And I'm just going to keep mixing that around. I'm basically only touching the lard and the buttermilk, and as I'm working that into circles, I'm letting it pick up the flour that it wants to pick up. But I'm going to be very careful not to overwork this dough. I'm going to fold it just once, twice, thrice, I'll take a small amount of grease, grease this pan. Ultimately, we want our dough to be about a 1/2 inch thick. I don't have a biscuit cutter, so being a good girl from Kentucky, I am using a mint julep cup. We can keep reworking this dough and cut out another biscuit or two. I gotta be honest with you, I'm still scared to death, but in the oven these go. 500 degrees, we're going to leave them in there for about 8 or 10 minutes. Now's the perfect time to go down and tap that like button for me, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. I am pretty happy with the way these biscuits turned out. Tender and fluffy on the inside, nice and crispy, golden on the outside. And that's what cooking is all about. You've got to learn to overcome your fear. You've got to learn to keep practicing, because each time you're going to get better and better. I just cannot let this episode go by without paying tribute to Leslie Jordan. You may know him as your hunker down buddy from lockdown during COVID. During that time, Leslie Jordan's Instagram went from 80,000 followers to over 5 million. It's my belief Leslie actually helped some people survive getting through that whole COVID lockdown experience with his humor, with his grace, with his love and his light. I first became a fan of Leslie's years ago from the Sordid Lives franchise, but I've loved him ever since. All through COVID, all through everything he's done, up to and including Call Me Kat, which is set here in Louisville, Kentucky. From his acting to his Instagram to his most recent gospel album and appearances on the Grand Ole Opry, Leslie Jordan shed his light and his love on so many people, and he will be greatly missed. Until next time, turn off the TV, turn on some music, and just keep jamming.